Welcome to the Sage, the youth segment. Today is a serious matter. We have a serious discussion that is paining us in the heart. It's paining us deeply as young people. I'm smiling because we have learned a mechanism in Nigeria. We call it suffering and smiling. Well, we don't want to suffer and smile anymore. We truly want to smile and be happy as a nation. But to do that, this discussion must happen. So today, on the youth segment, we are talking 2023. What is happening in 2023? The elections. An election that will determine the life of every Nigerian for the next 4 years. We've seen a cycle of leadership over time. I won't say they're entirely bad or they're entirely good, but some things are not working. And we can't continue like that because why? We are tired of suffering and smiling. Now we're having more mental health issues. There's now more road rages. People are suffering. People are committing suicides. We are tired of suffering and smiling. And as young people, it is worse for us because we are supposed to be the leaders of not just the future, but of now. But somehow, just somehow, we are being sidelined from the conversations that determine our own lives. But no more. No more. And today, we begin the conversations. Stay tuned. Welcome back. So I won't bore you too much. I'll allow our guests, again, trust us to bring amazing young Nigerians who are passionate about what we're talking about. So today we have 4 guests on the show, and they are going to take over these conversations, and we're going to talk about our leadership. Not just our leadership, because the Sage, particularly the youth segment, we're not all talk. We want everyone to know how young Nigerians feel about certain topics, about certain issues that involve us. But we're not just talking about what is wrong. We're giving the solutions. We're giving our own point of view about what are the concrete things that needs to be done as way forward. So we're talking about our leadership. We're talking about 2023 elections. But today, we'll talk about solutions. And to start that conversation, I would like to introduce first Mr. Eric Ochibo, our dear fish farmer, our agro entrepreneur, in fact, but also a passionate young Nigerian. So Eric, welcome back to the youth segment.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
Again, I'll start with my far left. I'm sure by now she's a known face already. Mrs. Ngozi Roland.
And you should be able to pronounce the surname by now.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Apologies. And next to her is Miss Chinelo Ezekwe. And also Miss Rachel Bob, CEO Healing Spas. Healing Hand Spas, right? Yeah. Healing Hand Spas. So, welcome. As young people, I say we find I call it survival mechanism. Personally, when I hear politics, national issues, the news is not something I grew up liking to watch because it just saddens your heart. We are a country with so many natural resources, with the richest man in Africa, who I must state, most of his resources are made from Nigeria. So what does that tell you? There's money in this country. There's wealth in our nation. So some things should not be happening. Some infrastructures should not be missing. Some money should not just disappear like that. But corruption has eaten them. But anyways, I would hand it over to the guests. I'm a passionate young Nigerian myself. But let me hand it over. Eric,
Yeah.
let's hear your thoughts.
Thank you very much for having me. Over time, I believe for every government that has been instituted in this country had the buy-in of the young people.
Yes.
Whether those who came in through the barrel of the gun or those who won through the ballot. The young people had contributed immensely to coming up with any government we had. So if we've had good governance before, the young people were involved. And if we had bad governance, maybe before or even now, the young persons were involved. And what we were talking about today is that there was a time when we had a government which at the time the dollar was, the naira was twice the dollar. My mom told me a lot of stories like that. And the naira was twice the dollar. Today, the dollar is 580 as at 2 weeks ago. And I also hear 590 now. It's about 590. The young people who are most affected contributed to setting up that government where a dollar was twice, when the naira was twice the dollar.
Let me cut in, but let me not disagree completely, because I feel young people are pawns in the hands of many of these leaders. So before we even go into that, I feel there's a problem somewhere. There are certain leaders, there's the same cycle of leaders over time that has been ruling this nation. And there are things that have gone wrong. There are some structures and there's a control that they have. I don't want to use the word, but the cabals. And the country is being ruled by one man and not by a system that should have been in place. What is wrong? Like, where did we miss it in our leadership? What is the state of our leadership now?
Okay, for me, I would say there was a time where we had a system of government that was really run by values, African values, our culture and tradition.
Really? We had?
Yeah. There was a time where those in governance. And because earlier I said that there was a time where in this very country, agriculture was the mainstay of our economy. And virtually everybody contributed, providing job and boosting the economy. And if we go down history, agriculture itself is part of our culture and tradition. So the government that came out at the time was a product of our people, was a product of the values we believe in as Africans and as Nigerians. So we had good governance before, where things, where sorry,
I'm interested in this.
we had good governance before, where
Was this before democracy or after
No,
democracy?
beginning from independence, I would say.
Okay.
Yes, beginning from independence. So I would say we had good governance at certain times, which were manned by Nigerians. And today we still have governance, still manned by Nigerians. But the difference in the outcome is clear. When we look at the infrastructure we had in the First Republic and Second Republic, given the fact that yes, the population had exploded, we know that, but we had infrastructures that was built at that time. Today, we have government where we can't really hold on to any tangible infrastructure. Now you're asking me what has changed. And for me, we once had a good system of government running for us. But at what point did we lose that system that runs for us? It was the point we deviated from our values and our values as a people. Africans are known for their values. We are a product of, so no matter how much suit we wear, we will never be Europeans or Americans. We will remain African, and Africans we are. So at the point where we started diverting from our morals, our culture, our values, it was then things started going wrong. there was a time in this country where if you leave your business somewhere, you sell a granite, you sell a petty trade somewhere, you can leave your business, your goods there, and go to the farm, do other things. Wow. Anybody who picks from the market will drop, and you come back and meet your money. If nobody has bought anything, your goods will be there. Nobody steals from you. There was a time like that in this country.
Wow.
But at what point? That time. Yes, but at what point did we turn our back at those values that kept us, which kept us? Many school of thought will say at the time we discovered oil, there was not too much money. Nobody was doing agriculture anymore. Nobody was doing it. But again, that is relative. What are the decisions we have made? At what point did we turn our back on our values and our value system? And for me, it was that value system for which we turned our back on that is responsible for where we are today. So for me, things are difficult today, or things have changed because we have shifted. Everybody, I'm not exonerating anybody. Everybody has shifted from the values.
Wow. Okay. So we've settled, or we've kind of agreed that something went wrong in our value system over time as a nation. And our leaders in their, somehow also, because they are supposed to be the one to anchor the nation in the direction it should go. The values that built us up are not there anymore. But aside that, what has created this crisis that we have? What is the reason why we don't have these infrastructures? Why is it that there's more of mediocrity in our systems than people who have the merit, who have the skills that could build these nations, not being appointed to be these ministers to handle the work? And Rachel?
Yeah. For me, the leadership crisis in Nigeria, the root is ethnicity, tribalism. That is it. If you look at our founding fathers, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, Tafawa Balewa, Nnamdi Azikiwe, these three people are popular in Nigeria, but they're not popular in the sects that they came from. Awolowo is not popular with Igbos. Tafawa Balewa is not popular with the Yorubas and all of that. There is that, he's not from my side, he's not from my tribe. We don't speak the same language, so he won't understand us. If we are indeed a federal state that we claim to be, we should have a nationalistic mindset. It should be, I am a Nigerian first before I am from the South. Mm-hmm. So every leader, I believe every person is a leader. So you don't have to have an office. You don't have to have a political office. In your area, be a leader. A leader is an agent of change. So you can say, oh, in my office, if this person is not from Anambra State, even among the Igbos, so if you're not from Imo State, I won't answer them. If she's not from Osun State, no, they don't really understand the way we pound our yam. It doesn't make any sense to me. You should be the main goal. And the main goal is Nigeria as a country moving forward. What is the next step? This is the next step. Stop with the, oh, she's from my tribe, she speaks my language. Stop it. So I believe for the 2023 elections, everyone should vote. Don't look at the tribe. Don't look at, Vice President Osibanjo is from Yoruba, is from the West. So he will have the Westerners at heart. Tinubu from the West, Peter Obi, it's been so long since the Igbo ruled. Look at their credentials. Can they deliver? That's what you should look at. What have they done so far before they are coming to this political position? What have they done? What can I say, okay, I can hold this person to do, okay, if he's coming into power, these are the things that he can do, these are the things he can deliver within the first 100 days of leading. So we should stop with the tribalism. Stop it. Nigerians, please stop it. Think Nigeria. Think I am a Nigerian before I am from the South. I am a Nigerian before I can speak a language. Think holistically. Thank you so much.
Wow.
Okay, well, very interesting. What she said, 100%. I agree in the tribalism part.
Yeah.
But the only place I've actually seen Nigerians actually united is football matches. That is when a Yoruba in a house, a team, but we don't know those things. We know that we're Nigerians, right? So that shows, that's a glimpse of hope. And whenever I see that, I'm happy because this is actually, it can work. Yes, it can work. Because if we can actually hug ourselves, I did that Atlanta 96, of course, I didn't really, I can't really remember anything, but from, you know, the stories I heard about it, oh my goodness. Nigerians were just, you know that there was all this Igbo, Yoruba, you can never see it though. But once that thing ends, once there's no football match or there's no, we're not going for any Olympics or anything, we'll just revert back to our usual way.
Status quo.
Yes, which is really, really bad. I'm not trying to exonerate Nigerians, right, about what is it, but going back memory lane and history, it's actually these colonial masters that started these major divisions, where so it would be easier for them because they came for pure exploitation. Because all this infrastructure you talked about that we had was actually to aid themselves, to aid their business, to aid their exports and everything. And then so they were not really doing anything to benefit the African or the Niger where they were. So now it's actually the onus falls on all of us, like you said, because the truth is the world has evolved. You can't keep living in the colonial masters divided us, they brought warranties, did this. So we should look at the bigger picture because the truth is they've actually really set us back because they were the ones, transatlantic slave trade was majorly Africans that went to the New World. So we've been depleted, you know, and then for us to even catch up where they are, there's nobody to enslave anymore because the world is open. With the United Nations now where there's international law that protects every country is a sovereign nation, so you should tread carefully. And that is why we need to fight this neocolonialism now. So because of greed and corruption, we've not been able to fight it.
That's another one.
Problem.
Greed
And corruption. The African leaders that we have are so myopic. Now, coming to the youth and how we could actually fight elections, it's not a day's job.
We're coming to the young people. We're wetting the surface.
Exactly.
We're wetting the surface.
So the greed is too much. We're so short-sighted because I remember Kwame Nkrumah clamoring for United States of Africa, right? When the Africans in the late 1950s, early 1960s, when we started getting independence from our colonial masters, and they shut him down because as if everybody would come and say United States of Africa, then he will now come and somebody is above. And then please, everybody wanted their own stuff.
Nobody's thinking
Nobody's
of
thinking
Africa.
of the bigger picture. Because it's only when we're united, you know, that we could actually fight these people. And then in this Nigeria that we're complaining about, reminds me of the, you know, Igbo people, they always say Igbos are not united, they don't really know their brothers and everything. And even then they always make reference to the Northerners, how they're so united. Even when you speak the Hausa language, you buy things cheaper in the market. It's called unity. You identify with them and then there's something, you know, they connect with you immediately. You know, so these are things that we should actually, cultures are dynamic and different. We should copy the good ones from each other's cultures to make us better.
It always make me wonder, like when our leaders, they travel out and they see certain things, the systems in place, don't they feel shame when they come back? Like, don't they feel, like you ought to feel something like, I need to do better. You go out for medical checkup, you spend thousands of pounds or whatever, millions out. Then you come back to your country. The medical system is trash. Like it's, doctors are always complaining of being underpaid. And it doesn't do you, you don't feel anything.
You know, why that is, I think it's because there's no consequences for actions. Where you get away with things. Because trust me,
no
all these
sympathy.
are not sleeping well, no lights. It doesn't affect them.
Even
Most of
the
them
lights.
have inverters, they're comfortable. So you can't tell someone comfortable to feel your pain. And when they do these lootings, nobody to hold them accountable because it's so sad. Because I remember the EndSARS movement where I saw some youths on television actually coming out to say, there's nothing SARS is doing. I was surprised because it's just clear that people have paid these people off and that's them some money to come and say things that are not true. And these are our fellow youth. So where do you want to start fighting it from?
Before, I'm trying to save the best for last because we really need to talk about young people and leadership because something is up there. But my own question now is, yes, I want to ask, how is it that we keep electing the same circle? Please, why is it that it's the same people?
Wait. I call it recycling the same set of
please, what's
leadership.
going on?
It's not that there are not people that are coming out, that are young, that are able and strong. But because of this greed and corruption, there has been a division in class.
Godfatherism.
And this thing, they do it purposely so that they can have something to hold on when it's time for election. Because of this division in class, you see somebody that even if it's 1,000 they give the person, it feels like, oh, they've given the person heaven and earth. You know, then we say there's upper class, middle class, and lower class. My dear, there's nothing like middle class. Is it that you're in upper class or you're in lower class? Do you understand? So they form this division so that they can hold them ransom when they need a particular thing from them. So you see people who the system is, of course, in fact, we have lost a lot of faith in the system, and that's why we have to come to change it. These people are recycled. You see them, they go for House of Assembly. From House of Assembly, they become governors. From governors, they enter Senate. They come back, they want to remain. From Senate, they want to, in fact, there's a particular one, I don't want to mention his name. He's been in the House of Rep for almost 3 years. And this time around, I heard he's going for Senate. I'm like, did they bury your umbilical cord there?
And it's not like they're doing
And they're not
anything
impacting their society. In fact, when he was going for declaration, no single person followed him. And tomorrow, that person, they will tell you he has structure. This structure is built from the sweat of Nigerians. They are putting the, okay, we heard of the APC presidential candidate called 100 million. And people are asking, where did you get that money from?
making it impossible for youth to even
think. So those who are capable, those who are capable of handling these positions, they are capable in terms of qualification, in terms of track record. You see, they make everything difficult for them to penetrate. So you still see those people that have looted the money going back because they are the only ones that can afford it.
Exactly. They can afford it.
They are the only
and
ones
going back, they are going back to loot more money to replace the one.
Because if I'm doing business, for instance, for me, it's like gambling. Because the fact that you buy a presidential ticket doesn't mean your party is going to give you. Mm-hmm. Do you understand? So if I'm working my sweat and I have to bring out 100 million to buy a ticket that doesn't guarantee that I'm going to represent my party, oh, that's huge. So you can see that only those people who can do it comfortably are people that who have looted, and even if they fail,
it doesn't shake them. Yeah, they don't feel it. They don't feel it.
Yeah, I agree that we have recycling leadership because there are people who have amassed wealth and they make it more expensive. The more money they get, they make it more expensive for other persons to come in. So the smaller, the fewer, the merrier, as it is for them. So, but in 2023, things are beginning to change because we're looking at 2023. The Electoral Act, as amended, has given us options. And then for me, Nigeria, this is the time Nigeria is going to have that change we are looking for come 2023, because we now have a provision for independent candidacy, which was absent before. Oh, yeah. So you can stand up today, if you meet you have some certain followership, you can run for president.
But for that to really have effect.
We also have smaller political parties right now. Let me say the Zenith Labour Party has made its tickets free for young people, women, and people with disabilities. Wow. So we shouldn't be looking at APC or PDP as it were, the big political parties. And that is where I am concerned. So if you're able to put somebody, a young person, into one of these political parties, their ticket is free, and mobilize the rest young people to queue behind the person, we are sure of changing this narrative.
Yeah, like I was about to say, you just stated it. It's not enough to have the ability to do the independent candidacy and all that. We need to come together as youth. Yeah. We need to have a voice. We need to be able to say, this person has the qualification, let's back this person up. But the challenge basically is, these so-called people who have amounted wealth for themselves, look at what happened with the NSAS. We would say, yes, it was a huge success, but there are a lot of lessons to learn from it. Yeah. Of course, I think the major person behind the NSAS, of course, was Faceless. So it was easy for them to manipulate some youths and come and say, oh, we are hand of elders and all that. So in being unified, we need to put things like technology in place. We need to be able to even bring in those in diaspora. We need to form a formidable force. We need to show them that we are more intelligent than they are in terms of technology, in terms of, using digital, the digital space, to send informations and all that. What we are looking for in 2023 is people who are qualified. Don't give us 10,000. Don't give us 1 million. Don't give us 10 million.
Yeah.
Show us what you can do. Show us your track record.
Yeah.
Even if you are in a place of business, you have not governed or whatever, let's see your track record in the business.
Truly.
Let's see how much you have done, how much lives you have changed, and let's say, okay, this man or this woman is worth this ticket. Let's stand by it. But we must come together, because the truth about it is that what they do basically, why we're always looking at these two major political parties is because they have the money, they can manipulate anything. So even when you form associations like that, they will still go and look for people inside that association that they will use money to brainwash and wash their face.
Exactly.
And those people will start causing confusion inside. So we need to come together as young people and be united and have a common goal and a common value we want to uphold. Until we begin to do that, it's still going to be business as usual. Because tomorrow, if PDP wins, PDP people will move to APC. If APC, they are just deciding that.
Oh my God, that I feel there should be a law against that. Stick to one political party. Stop moving. If you move, you move out.
You win an election on a party, and then because the party is not the ruling party, you are still deep in that position. You want to move to another party.
Wow.
I mean,
God should do better.
It is getting hot on the youth segment right now. But when we come back, we'll be talking more on the role the young person plays in this whole ball game. Because politics, they say, is a dirty game. But we must be ready to clean it up and play the game. And it starts with us young people. So stay with us. When we come back, we'll be diving into what we young people in Nigeria can do towards 2023. Stay tuned.